В смысле предстоящее? Эм... Ой, ёшкин кот, а. Ну-ка, бла-бла-бла. Ну-ка, бла-бла-бла. Ну-ка, бла-бла-бла. Так. А что, как настройки? Что тут? Так, у него видение, воспоминания. А, мне нужен морфий. Мне нужны деньги. Пацанам что-то это. Ладно. Так. Разгорожение, тени. Что тут у нас есть? Плакат, стена, подвальное окно, главная улица, светофор. Так, горожане.
Hello, friend. You look lost. Come over by the fire.
It's dying down, but maybe it'll last until curfew.
As long as those uniformed psychopaths don't decide to end our little get-together first, of course.
Hey, look! One of those magic bracelets from the camp. They say that place is a real hellhole. A kind of living death. So, you've come back from the dead. Do they call you Lazarus?
Well, you could put it that way. You were saying something about a curfew. What time does it start exactly?
Well, it depends on the mood of the soldiers in this zone. But you know it's time to go home when they start taking their guns out of their holsters.
Today they're extremely jumpy. I don't think it'll be long before they start insulting people and hitting them with their rifle butts.
You guys are awfully hard on them. It's just their crude way of showing us affection.
Oh, shut up. In any case, you don't have to worry. That bracelet means you don't have to hide from them. You know, that's one of the privileges that comes with it.
And you? Do you people have to hide?
We try to stay out of their way. The first rule is, be home before curfew. Anyone who isn't gets dragged off to refugee camp. That's one of the strictest laws the Great Wave imposed upon this city.
And do you know how things are elsewhere? Do you get news from outside?
I'm afraid not. With no communications or transportation, and with the army on every corner, we are totally cut off.
Who cares anyway? When you don't know from one day to the next if you're gonna be alive, There's no time to worry about what happens
No.
100, 1,000, or 100,000 miles away.
I understand. Why are you afraid of the soldiers? I'd heard that things function better here.
I don't know where you heard that, friend, but whoever told you that was lying. Here, things are very ugly and getting uglier every day. Everything's in short supply: water, food, medicine.
We have a surplus of just two things: misery and violence. Life is cheap here, and getting cheaper all the time, especially since the army took over.
The army. I see. And what happened to the other authorities? The politicians? The laws?
Those are distant memories from the old world, my dear. Get them out of your head, because all that collapsed like a house of cards. Since the Great Wave, no one's got any plan, strategy. We're all adrift.
He's right. The most reliable thing we have left is what you see around the corner. Armed teenagers in uniform on the streets, on the rooftops, just as scared as we are, or more, and shooting anything that moves.
I think our common destiny is to finally die of starvation, of disease, or boredom. I don't know which of the three options I find the most cruel. Who knows? Maybe the most sensible thing is to organize a group excursion and break into Suicide Park.
Suicide Park.
Не.
Don't call it that. It's not funny. That name's as stupid as that hospital they built in such a hurry next to it. It's crazy. The entire city is starving and sick, and the soldiers keep those medical facilities locked up like Fort Knox.
Это point-click, квест или квест с элементами, ну, без разницы, с элементами point-click. Я в прошлое воскресенье поиграл немного. Короче, вроде как тут даже элементы скримера есть, хер его знает. Какое-то действие после войны или каких-то военных действий. Какая-то есть болезнь, люди тают, исчезают, заразно, не заразно. И мужик очнулся, ни хрена не помнит. Те, кто его выходили, попросили его помочь найти лекарство, ну, и вкратце там. И до этого было еще. Лекарство для их ребенка, который вот этой болезнью болеет, неведомой. Где-нибудь. Ну вот. Первую главу я прошел, это вторая глава, я выбрался из лагеря беженцев. Это, получается, город. В городе вроде как должно было быть нормально, оказалось, в городе тоже все херово.
But what good is it having medical facilities if no one can use them? I don't understand.
No one does, friend, but that's the way it is. I don't know why anyone would want to go into that building, but I can assure you that they're not going to get treated for anything in there, not even for a miserable cold.
Besides, it's a real fortress. The person would be more likely to come out sick from an overdose of gunpowder and lead. You know how it is, dear. There's no cure for love or death. Hey, I like that last phrase. It would make a good opening line for a story.
Oh, will you shut up for once, Ramon? Don't pay any attention to him. In the old world, he earned his living writing stories, and he still thinks that all that waste paper might someday be useful after the Great Wave.
And in fact, it is. A good deal of that scrap paper is fueling this bonfire right now, dear. So I can consider my literary career to have been worthwhile.
Did you say Suicide Park? Someone in the camp told me about that place.
And the first dark stars come out to hang from the sky. We could sit and count them together, you and I.
When the sun departs from Suicide Park. Yes.
Этот издатель Дейдалик, ну, который Японию сделал.
Yes.
Издатель, не разработчик.
After the Great Wave, and when things were starting to get really ugly here, the weakest among us eased their suffering with a bullet, by overdosing, or by jumping from high places. You know how it is. All those dark stars had a hard time finding a reason to go on living.
There was a terrible wave of suicides, and there still is.
The problem is at some point a problem arose. How should I put it? A serious logistical problem. Access to drugs and firearms became practically impossible. So the easiest thing was to grab a rope or a belt and go to Suicide Park after dark.
There was a time when it was hard to find a free branch anywhere in the park.
The suicides in the area multiplied at such a rate that the army closed down the park. They said for public health reasons.
For months, the only thing blooming in that park were the corpses of the hanged. The place became more like a theme park. Lots of fun for everyone.
I told you not to make jokes about that. Don't you have any respect for anything?
Of course not. That was one of the many things I lost in the Great Wave. And one of the things I missed the least, believe me.
Thanks for the chat.
Thanks for the company, friend.
Ну, и я так понял, тут очень много разговоров. Так, горячая бочка. Сюда можно зайти. Ну-ка.
Judging from what remains of the stained glass windows and the murals, this pile of rubble must have been a place of worship before the Great Wave struck. Now it's one of the most badly damaged buildings in the area. There are hardly any walls still standing. The traffic in this part of the city must have been especially heavy, but now you can barely hear the sound of the few army vehicles still circulating in the surrounding areas. It looks like this heating technology is not limited to the refugee camp. These bonfires are used here too, and their emissions are just as toxic here as they are there. What the hell could they be burning in them? It's the silhouette of the soldiers guarding the street from around the corner. It seems like those uniformed psychopaths' rifles are projected onto each and every corner of the city. A few buildings are still standing, but most of them are propped up or about to fall down, with a handful of city dwellers in the street that look like automatons or sleepwalkers. But there's no doubt about it. I'm on the 5th Avenue of Doomsday City.
Ну да, и еще прикол в том, что они планировали разработчики в 2015 что ли, году, или 2016 году, или позже, или раньше, выпустить трилогию по этой игре. А в итоге вышла только одна часть, тут 4 вроде главы, 4 или 5. И все. Больше глав нет. Так, надо... Так, что это? Замок с цепью, старый. А тут... я уже могу...
Dozens of posters, all shredded, charred or half torn off. This wall must have been used for advertising before the Great Wave. One of them in particular catches my eye.
Так, что там я взял?
Tomorrow comes today. There's something about the composition that's strangely familiar to me. Some memory related to my former life, perhaps? Or maybe it's just a memory glitch caused by the Great Wave.
Это... Чё?
I can't help staring at this poster. It's almost an obsession. It's as if there's some hidden message in the background of the image that I'm incapable of processing. What the hell is so familiar to me about this image? And why? Tomorrow comes today.
Так, ладно.
A dirty window at ground level for ventilation. A chain with a padlock. Let's not wait.
Help me, please! Help me! Don't let them find me in the street after curfew. They'll take me to the refugee camp. Help me, please! But don't make any noise. There's a patrol just round the corner.
But what is it you need me to do?
It's almost curfew. I need a place to sleep. I need a place to hide, or they'll send me to the refugee camp. Don't you understand?
You need a roof over your head, and you don't have anywhere to go.
I used to, but it doesn't exist anymore. I owned an apartment a few blocks from here. The block was badly damaged by the Great Wave, but it was still standing.
And what happened to your home?
This morning we had to evacuate the area in a hurry. We ran out in the streets with whatever we had on. Apparently, the foundation was starting to crumble. And a few hours later, all that was left of my home was a pile of smoking rubble, with 40 years of memories buried beneath it. But I can't let them take me to the camp. I need to get into another house before the curfew. Please, help me.
What is all this about a curfew?
At curfew, the soldiers want the streets cleared. And the way they see it, if you're out on the street after curfew, it means that you've got nowhere to go. You don't have a home. You don't belong here. And that makes you a rat. And so they take you to the refugee camp. I can't go to the camp. Understand? I can't go there.
Okay, give me those bolt cutters. I'll see what I can do.
This house is empty, but the army has sealed it off. If I can just get this padlock off before curfew, I'll be safe. I need to get in here. But please, don't make too much noise. If the soldiers find us, they won't hesitate to kill us.
Impossible. I'm sorry. I can't do anything with this.
I need to get in there. I need to get in.
Ну вон, выбей окошко и попади, там же подвальное окно есть. Чем обязательно? Болторез есть, кусачки есть, выбей... А, что нельзя поднимать? Вот, пиджак есть, обвернул в пиджак, ударил в окошко. Все, тихо, никто не услышит. А, ливневку он не пролезет, да? Странный какой-то мужик.
I'm looking for a place. Something like a pharmaceutical warehouse. Would you know anything about that?
I don't really know. There's a small medical center just outside the city limits. I suppose you mean that, right? They built it in a hurry, just knocked it together after the Great Wave. No one really knows what it's for, but there are vehicles going in and out of the place all the time. Whatever they're doing in there, they're keeping it very secret. Not even my daughter would tell me what goes on inside.
Did you say your daughter?
Yes, my daughter, my little Uma. She works there as a
Тем более
nurse.
есть дочка.
I'm afraid she left me. I suppose she got tired of living with a frail, sick old man like me. Because one day she simply left the house, and I haven't seen her since. It's been months now. I think she was right to leave me. These times are hard enough. You don't want to burn yourself with someone like me.
I'm sorry. I can't help you.
Help me, please.
Так. Help me, please. Ты тут не появился. Help me, please. Как бы help me. Так. Пойдем сюда. Так, с вами я разговаривал, товарищи. Стоп. Не заходим. Ага. Вход в метро. Я могу сюда. Окей, ну-ка.
What was formerly the entrance to a subway stop is now a bunker reinforced with bricks and cement. A moldy sign says, "Subway service suspended until further notice." I imagine the train tunnels were flooded or ruined after the Great Wave. A metal sign bolted to the wall. It's the logo of the local subway system, and from what I can see, one of the edges is slightly detached. Let's see.
Скорее всего, нужно что-то подеть. Ну да.
Nothing. I'm afraid I'm not going to be able to get it off with my hands.
Какой-нибудь... Не, пока тоже. Так, ну давай в храм. Так, скримеров, надеюсь, сразу сейчас не будет.
Send us a sign, Lord. We need a sign from you.
Hey, wait a minute. I know that voice.
Are we guilty of arousing your rage? Did we do it? Speak with your tongue of fire, Lord. Purge us with unrelenting justice. Send us a sign. Is this our doing? Are you punishing us for our arrogance? Unleash your thunderous voice, Lord. Release us from this intolerable uncertainty. Did we do it? Send us a sign.
I'm getting a strong impression that man's a fanatic and a little bit deranged, but his sermon made me curious. What could he mean by, we did it?
Illuminate us with your
Так.
fiery voice, Lord. Send us a
Разбитый
sign.
витраж, осколки стекла. О, осколки стекла могут резать. Упавшая колонна, скульптура. Витраж, скамейки, преподобный Блейк. О, кстати, ёп.
Illuminate us with
Oh no. Here comes that sensation again. It's like floating in a dense liquid while everything around me is transformed.
Good God. I think I'm starting to lose my mind.
Ну вот, это вот проявление болезни тоже. То есть такие, это симптоматики болезни новой, старой. Ну я так понимаю. А он еще не, я думаю, он еще не знает, что он будет. Так, разбитый витраж.
The remains of the stained glass window, the great wave. In fact, there are.
Ага, они цветные. Цветные. Стекло может резать, стекло может отражать. Да? И стекло это 3 цвета у меня здесь. 4 цвета. Хорошо.
This column fragment, now it's keeping the pedestal.
Fiery voice, Lord. Send us a sign.
The catastrophe caused a lot of damage to the statue's pedestal. The fact that the statue is still standing is a
The
miracle.
thunderous voice of your angels.
Надо ее ударить.
Is your sign.
У меня нечем. Может так?
Use this here? How? I hate the grating, so I won't do.
Окей.
Considering the condition of the rest of the church, it's such little light.
Так, ладно. Прихожане. Павшая колонна я смотрел. Крест.
This enormous stone cross casts a giant. Perhaps that wasn't the original intention.
Did we do it?
A few parishioners, although they can't decipher the. Seated on these disarranged pews, some people are listening to the priest. I guess they don't have anywhere else to go.
Кстати. Вот, забегаловка церковная. Чё дед сюда не пошел? Тут вот раз, два, три, четыре, пять, шесть, семь. А, может быть она закрывается, их тут выгоняет. Это не считается домом? Ну, кстати, как вариант. Так, чё, преподобный, давай поговорим. Так, у меня есть... Мне нужен аптечный пункт, медцентр. Старику помочь. Уже 2, да? Ладно.
I'm not going to interrupt him in the middle of his.
В смысле? А, мне нужно...
I'm not going to interrupt.
Мне нужно якобы подать голос Божий, да? О том, что он тут разоряется. Каким-то образом. Угу. Статую выронить, да? Скорее всего. Или что под статую звук пошел. Понял? Ой, крыса. Ладно. Так, это, я так понимаю, деревяшка, люк. О, медцентр. То, что нужно.
This fence protects the compound on all 4 sides. It seems like barbed wire. It's rather disconcerting to see such a small building. Could this be the medical center? A bucolic fountain covered with ivy and moss. In its day, it must have been home to a school of gold. So, let's see. Impossible. It's not that it's super heavy. It's that there's hardly any place to...
Где же мне взять типа лома? Нет у меня лома. Дощечка с надписью. Так.
Closed for public health reasons is written on this piece of... Wait a minute. Health? Closed for public health reasons is written on this... Wait a minute.
Что? Гвозди? Гвозди. 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 Так. Ну-ка.
This plank... I don't think I...
Фу-фу.
To tell the truth...
Так, так.
So I won't do... I don't think... I don't... Better...
Не работает. Хорошо. Да, блин. Подожди. Дерево.
Judging from its girth, this... Now the stump is guard... Someone went to a... I'm afraid that access is totally... Southside Park. Would you believe it? This must be the famous suicide... Huh. The pun.
Так.
This entrance is reserved for authorized motor vehicles
А у меня
only.
браслет есть.
Get away from
Стукача.
it. Move on.
What the hell?
Ага.
Those savages don't get around. I'd better avoid getting too close to that area, at least on foot.
Ага. Ага, ага. Так, это значит, короче, в машину мне надо, да? Получается. Так, это что?
This thick wall of trees goes from one end of the compound to the other. It's so dense that you can hardly see anything through it. Who the hell would think to build these facilities?
Окей. А это я куда?
The park is closed down. If I want to get in there,
Uh-huh.
it won't be.
Так. У меня есть плакат, стекло, дощечка, гвозди. Фонтан, решетка, это... А, тут, наверное, что-то может быть как-то. Так, дерево. Почему важно? Почта. В чем прикол? Ладно. Из локаций мне доступно 3, да, я так понимаю? Сюда я не могу. Так.
Best not to waste time.
Прибить предмет.
I'm afraid I.
Окей.
I wouldn't. It doesn't.
А, еще у меня вот это, да? Я могу что-то.
This plank doesn't. It's not that, but I need something stronger to tear this.
Еще
It's
раз.
not that securely attached to the wall, but I need something strong.
Сорвать. Так, стой. Это я иду к парку. Почка. Так, а может быть дощечку?
What for? What for?
Так, а если я охране браслет предъявлю? Так.
I'm afraid that this bracelet only works at the entrance to the refuge.
Ага. Так, может на нем что-нибудь выковырить можно? Подожди.
I don't quite see how. I wouldn't know how. The park is closed down. And if I want to get in there,
Это ворота, что ли? Люк. Пальцы, да? Ладно, пойдем со статуей чуть потыкать.
Did we do it? Are we the guilty ones?
use this here.
Не знаю, как-нибудь.
Let's see. If I wedge one of the ends of the plank under the statue's pedestal, the other part will rest directly in the base of the toppled column.
That is your sign.
И что мне это дало?
The catastrophe caused a lot of damage to the statue as a miracle.
We're waiting, Lord. Did we do it? Illuminate us. Send us a sign with your just and vengeful arm. Is this our fault? Listen! It's the fiery breath of God. The Lord has sent us his sign. And I was right. It is all our fault. We did it, and we have aroused his fury.
But what the hell's going on here?
Look, that's the sign. Forgive us, Lord. Forgive us. Repent, all ye sinners.
It's the atmospheric phenomenon I've been hearing so much about. That infernal sound coming from the crack in the sky. It's terrifying.
That is the sign. We did it. Forgive us, Lord. Forgive us. My children, God has spoken to us with his
витраж разбил.
loudest voice.
Ну да.
Haven't you heard him? But there's still time. All is not lost. We still have time. Salvation lies in the place where it all began, in the ruins, at the source. We must return.
Тут очень много, непонятно, неизвестно.
We must return. We must.
Ага, и проповедник убежал. Короче, да, и после вот этой Великой войны, вот этот вот расщелина, глаз, или что-то такое в небе появилось. Но я говорю, жалко, что она не закончена. Все возможно, да?
Well, look at that.
Так,
Next to this enormous hunk of glass, the colored glass shards I picked up earlier look ridiculous. I'd
большой
better get rid of
осколок.
them.
Что, в смысле избавиться? Маленький, острый, толстый кусок.
Scratch the sides. For now, I don't. That
Маленьких нету. Он маленький выкинул. Блин, нахрена? Да, и то, что есть подсказка, это тоже хорошо. Поговорить можно. Угу. Ну-ка, а туда как? Ага, разбито. Разбито. Я вот это не могу? Так, а если я применю на... Если я применю на подвальное окно. Я могу сюда? Тихо, где-то... Так, подвальное окно.
So I won't.
Так, это куда? Это я из города вышел. Ага. Это я вышел из города. Это к дереву. Блин.
Oh no. It's starting again. It's amazing. Everything's changing. Everything. Everything is mutating. And I haven't even moved.
Это было, когда я в
I don't
город заходил.
understand. I don't understand anything.
Вот такие вот у него глюки. Так, а если я здесь попробую?
What for? Cutting my hand.
Гвоздями. Не, подожди, по катикам.
I don't think I'd.
Да, блин, подожди, вот гвоздями.
Best not to waste. A few yards that accumulated in there. Blah.
Выйди как. Так. Так, вау. Тесаные. Ну, никак, я не думаю, да?
I'm afraid I can't.
Да. Так, ну ладно. О, у него палочка есть. Если я ему отдам, если он мне отдаст палочку, палочкой можно люк поддеть. И что можно еще палочкой сделать? Не, поддеть от люка, от это, жестяной круг, а жестяным кругом открыть люк. Типа такого, да? Ну, не знаю, ладно.
Hello. I heard your sermon and...
Yeah, God has shown us his sign. He has finally spoken to all of us. With his thunderous voice, he has revealed the unknown. We did it. It's all our fault. We did it. But there's still time. All is not lost. There's still time to avoid it. The head of the lion above the flames that holds the key to everything.
But what is it we did?
Time's the will of God. It is his heart and his hammer. The centuries and the ages belong solely to him. The celestial empire is a divine clock. Time rotates around God. Its hands are his angels and archangels. Now I see it all clearly. How could we have been so stupid? Our arrogance had enraged him. That's what we did.
This man is definitely crazy. Nothing he says makes any sense.
I beg you, leave my brother in peace. He's very upset.
We did what? I'm sorry, but I didn't understand a word you just said.
We sullied his name. We didn't know that each second is a drop of Christ's blood, and that only he can reign over the interval, over the infinite mysticism of the fragment. Only he can reign over time with his incandescent omnipotence, and we were unable to see it. And now he is enraged, and we're to blame. That's what we did.
I still don't understand what it is we did.
Each cycle is a fluorescent gust of God's will, don't you see? Can't you see it? He reigns over the days and the hours from the inscrutable luminescence of his dwelling place. And we are just instants that slip through his fingers.
Короче, бред несешь какой-то.
That's what...
What signs are you referring to?
The dark angels of God clamor madly through the open wound that is bleeding the kingdom of heaven dry. Haven't you heard? They were speaking with a thunderous voice. God is furious. That is his sign.
I suppose in his delirium, the man has mistaken that strange sound coming from the gash in the sky left by the great wave as a sign from the heavens. He's definitely lost his mind.
Please be so kind as to leave us in peace. Can't you see that my brother is very agitated?
Ага, то есть мне надо заставить, чтобы он очень сильно заволновался, чтобы палочку бросил, или что? Что мне с ним сделать вообще, с этим человеком? Так, короче, будем его волновать.
I assume you're referring to the atmospheric phenomenon in the sky caused by the great wave.
No, no! It's the stench of human arrogance that made the gears of the gates of hell grind. And now they're opening up like a festering wound to swallow us all. Can it be that you haven't heard it? That is his sign.
Excuse me. but I don't think that was a divine sign.
We've lacerated the sacred skin of the shroud God enveloped us in. We've betrayed him. We've stabbed him with our infinite arrogance. And you can see the mark etched on the heavens. Through that gash, Lucifer has shouted our name from on high. Satan is calling each and every one of us by name. Can't you hear it? That is his sign.
Ну, по идее, это серенькое, я это уже не могу юзать, да? Ладно.
Tell me, what is it that we can still prevent?
The wrath of God, the destruction of man. There's still time. We did it, but we still have time. The key is in the ruins of the temple. We have to find the ruins of the temple. Look for the head of the lion above the flames. Bring me the head of the lion above the flames while there's still time.
But this church is already in ruins. It hardly has any walls or a foundation left. You're already in the ruins of the temple.
No, you're mistaken. Bring me the head of the lion above the flames.
That's enough. Stop tormenting my brother. He's exhausted.
The head of the lion above the flames? That sounds absurd. It makes no sense. I think it's best.
Yes.
There's still bring me.
Какое, что ли, дали? Принеси ему львиную голову над пламенем. Преподному на бой с головой еще хуже, чем я думал. Ой. Как быть? Сестра, с ней я не могу ничего сделать. Так, и что мне делать с вот этим?
A hard, thick piece of glass. I prefer to hold on to it. What for? Cutting my hand.
Так.
It doesn't look. It took a lot to get it. What for? Cutting my hand with.
Так, здесь никто ничего не хочет, да? Ну-ка, на сестре.
It doesn't seem.
Так, на мыши не получится, я думаю.
I don't quite see. What for? Cutting my.
Так, горожане, бочка. Так, там я применял. А здесь...
Use this here.
Так, может быть, эти кусты попробовать?
What for? Cutting my hand. I don't. What for? Cutting my hand. I'm afraid I. What for? Cutting my hand.
Что-то еще есть. Что это такое? Земля?
Strange. The soil here seems.
Подкоп, что ли?
In fact, the mud in my fingers even leave marks.
Ну-ка.
Impossible. If I want to dig around it, I'll do this very carefully so that the glass doesn't break in two. Perfect. The hole I've dug is big enough to get to the other side of the fence.
Ага. Так. Тухлую
You can
рыбу.
smell these dead creatures. I have no intention of picking up those rotten.
Ну, блин,
These are the remains. Ugh.
Подожди, ну возьми чем гвоздями.
It doesn't. What for? Cutting my hand with it.
Так, ну тут ухо рыбы, да? Каменный, каменный. Ладно, пошли. Ой, фу, какая мерзость.
Good God.
Ой,
There
там
are
паук.
dozens, hundreds of corpses hanging from the branches. What could have drawn all these people here? What kind of pain? What kind of desperation brought them here? These are the corpses of ordinary people.
Чего-то так обязательно
who were living their
приближать, а?
ordinary
Мертвецов.
lives in their ordinary little worlds, up to a very short time ago. Could any of them have imagined meeting an end like this back then? Forgotten and nameless, swaying in the breeze like marionettes. And all those savages in uniforms did was close the park. They didn't even bother to cut their bodies down from the trees. I'm afraid that tonight there are too many dark stars to count in Suicide Park.
Но вообще-то парк они закрыли. Фу, блин, ну это да. Так, о, лом. Кстати, момент. Момент, дай. Упадет сейчас, конечно.
I'm not gonna cut it. If I can manage to salvage this rope without cutting it, it could be...
Окей. Веревка. Окей. Труп. Висельник.
One of the many dark stars in the park. Although the crows have already done a thorough job on him, from what's left, I'd say that the corpse belongs to a young man, barely of legal age. It's impressive. The park was able to devour the fence effortlessly. The metal bars became like plasticine, molded by the whims of the vegetation. A rotting bench overlooking purgatory. It looks like the kid who hanged himself from this tree climbed up on this and then jumped with the rope around his neck. The trees and bushes are so close together here that I can hardly push the branches to one side with my hands. Ah, a thorn. I'm not going to be able... Impossible. I'll need some... If I want to... I don't see any... I can't... Out. I don't... Out. Better not.
Ладно. Тут, короче, кусты как-то можно. Чем-то, как-то. Так. Ой, что такое? Что будет?
Wait a minute. That guy is... the suicide victim who was hanging from this tree.
Ага. А, прошлое
No,
смотрит.
don't do it, please. No!
Со скамейки.
Good God.
Ага.
I saw him hang himself.
Ну и чё? Ясно. Это ты как бы самоубийца. Это что? Забор, висельник. А он на скамейке что-то написал? Ну-ка.
Wherever I look, some so recent that the shadows of their faces make it seem like they're following you with their gaze.
Так, хорошо. Самое главное, что у меня появился ломик. А ломик это... Так, сначала сюда. Главное, чтобы не сломался. Ломик это. Можно попробовать так.
Maybe with the help of the crowbar. Damn it! I've managed to tear it down. But the subway sign is broken in two.
Сломанный металлический
It's
звук,
used-
да?
the
Так.
su- I doubt. I doubt.
Окей. Так, тому голова льва надо... Так, попробуем взломать замок ломиком.
I agree that violence is sometimes the
Давай,
shortest
давай.
path between 2 points, but considering how heavy this padlock and the chain are, I'm not sure that brute force is going to help me open this door.
Угу, не хочет. Окей. Так, в церкви мне ничего не нужно. О, так. Попробуем люк ломануть. О, кстати, яма. Можно попробовать знаком. Там же острые края, по идее. Блин, вот этот... Так, ну-ка. Подожди. По идее, тут у меня должна быть емкость. Ну-ка.
It doesn't. These fish.
Хорошо. Так.
I'm gonna
Можно?
need something that cuts better to hack a path through the vegetation that's blocking my.
Пострее.
There's no. And considering it's, I bet this is the continuation of the wall of trees that crosses the.
Ну-ка еще раз. Да подожди.
No. This vegetation is. There's no doubt that nature has taken over this corner. And considering its proximity, I bet this is the continuation of the wall of trees.
Ага. Понял, то есть мне надо как-то здесь порубить, тогда я к центру буду пойду. Вот.
The wall of.
Так, пойдем, Люк.
The crowbar fits perfectly into the hole in the manhole cover. Wait a minute. I'm not going to climb down any further. It's totally dark in there. And it would be crazy to go into these sewers without any light.
Под скамейки нет, он не юзается. Так, ему нужен свет. Ему нужен свет. Так.
I doubt I'd. I don't think. I doubt. I'm afraid.
Тут еще может быть и в другой локации тоже применять надо. Так. То есть там, если я прорежу, вон там, я вылезу вот здесь. Вот здесь. Получается, надо как-то в машину, я так понимаю, которая будет сюда заезжать. Да? Сюда нужен свет. Свет. Фонарик какой-то, да, получается? Так. Ой, так, бочка.
What for?
О, кстати. Кстати. Вернемся. Вот здесь здесь как бы это как бы первая голова. Здесь начинаешь.
Oh no.
Да вы
Here
задолбали.
comes that sensation again.
Камень.
It's like floating in a dense liquid while everything around me is transformed. Good God. I think I'm starting to lose my mind.
Во.
Getting into a punching match.
Ну.
Time has left these. There's no way I'm going to be.
Ну так я тебе предлагаю, вот.
Doesn't. Okay, let's see if I can open this. Got it.
Хорошо.
Let's see. I'm sure that if I tug on it a little. Good. The upholstery came off along with one of the elastic bands that was holding it to the seat.
Угу. Что мне дали? Резинка, чехол на кресло.
That wouldn't serve any. The seat cover, it's on his. I don't see how I can. I can't use. I don't think doing. I don't. Better not.
Так, ну в любом случае. Хорошо. Хорошо. Так, еще была машинка. Ну-ка проверим. Здесь.
Getting into a punching match.
Так, так, подожди. Сюда вот, капот. Капот.
I don't quite. I could lasso, but even so.
Какое-то достижение дали.
I doubt I could.
Чехол. Чехол, блин, чехол для кресла машины. Что он может дать мне? Хрен его знает. Так, это что? Металлит. Так, может там?
Use this.
Не знаю, по
I
это.
could.
Так. Львиную голову над пламенем. Так. Роуз, я не могу, мне деньги нужны. Деньги мне даст Миша, который нужен Морфий, а чтобы по Морфи я должен попасть в медцентр. Одно что на другое, накладывается. Так. Бум-бум-бум-бум. Так, мотоцикл. Мотоцикл. Блин, сейчас будет.
Hey, Red.
Are you one? I'm beginning. I'm
Да,
seven.
да, я понял. Чехол, ремень.
This elastic. Wow. This elastic. Although that. This. I can't. This. I don't. This. Better. This.
Так, а может быть сюда можно попробовать? Чехол.
I don't think I.
Веревка.
As dead as that.
Ага. Есть.
Before I go down, I'll leave the heavy stuff here, in case the rope doesn't support my weight.
Камни.
Underneath the surface, there must be many more. No doubt they're the remains of a It seems like a small fragment of one of them is loose.
Так, что тут еще есть? Вода, земляной вал. Я так понимаю, здесь мне ничего не... Блин, ну-ка.
What for? Cutting my hand? I suppose the rain. This water is. This hole in the distance to the bottom.
Камень. Камень с
A small
резьбой.
piece of sculpted marble.
О!
It's the head of an animal above what looks like flames or an open fire. Could it be a lion's head?
Окей.
I'll get my stuff.
Он лом и гвозди вытащил. Хорошо. Так, как быть?
Before I go down, I'll leave the heavy stuff here.
Да блин, я
in
не
case the
туда
rope-
нажал. Так. Хотя, подожди, может быть в чехол воды набрать можно?
I'm afraid I can't.
Вот.
I'll get my stuff.
Мгм. Так, а если попробовать сюда? Что у нас тут? Ломик.
Impossible.
Что?
Impossible.
Ящик
It's
мешает.
beyond my reach.
Какой ящик?
Getting into a punching match. Nothing can be done here.
Так.
It doesn't look. It's a. I don't quite. This elastic. Use it. This elastic.
Так, окей. Пойду тогда преподобному отдам. Посмотрим, что он там проквакает. Мне нужен еще, чтоб видеть. Типа фонарика, что ли.
The head of the lion above the flames. I think this must be yours.
The head of the lion! The head of the lion above the flames! The ruins of the temple still exist. Salvation is still possible. We can prevent it. We can still prevent it. Don't you understand? The annihilation of time. The wrath of God for our arrogance. There's still time. I have to return to the ruins of the temple. I have to go back to the ruins of the temple.
Wait a minute.
Whew. There's no question in my mind. This man is a complete lunatic.
Обалдеть. Так, ладно, давай, палочка.
Reverend Blake's cross. A stick with a
Палка
very, very
характерной
striking
формы. В
shape.
смысле, крест, что ли? А, крестообразно. Что мне с ним делать?
Why would I use that? I can't. So,
Чё?
let's see. I just made a primitive homemade slingshot.
Ага. А пацаны, которые мне, блин, помогли. Так. Стой, подожди. Ну да. Они как раз тренировались сюда. Так. На.
Hello, Michael.
Hi, kids.
We got Mom out of the house. Now what about that reward?
Yes. I think I have something you might like. I don't know if I'm doing the right thing. They're just
Да плевать.
kids. And this could get them into trouble. I know perfectly well what they're going to use it for, but their aim is amazing. And a little commotion on the camp fence could be a good thing for everyone. Besides, they want to do something for their father, and those pigs at the gate deserve a surprise.
What is it, Michael? Tell us, what is it?
А, тут право выбора еще. Типа не тот подарок, а другой подарок. Давать им или не давать, да, получается? Если я дам, они начнут стрелять, да? Если я не дам, то... Так, Хрис, да.
I know it's something you're really going to like. Here you go. It's a slingshot.
It's a slingshot.
Thank you, Michael. With this, we'll be able to hit the watchtowers.
Come on, let's try it.
That'll teach you, pigs.
Attention, all units in Sector 12. Report immediately to the North Watchtower. I repeat, report immediately to the North Watchtower.
What's going on? I don't know. It must be something serious. Come on, let's go.
You hit him.
Haha, yes.
So what do we do now?
I don't know. We've got to get out of here. Quickly, run!
I better take this with me.
Хорош, грохнули этого.
I'm not going to pick them up. Besides...
Ну, в смысле? А мне что же я, может, хочу? Окей. Так, ладно. Так, это значит, получается, охрана ушла от ворот. Да, мотоцикл. Давай. Кофр. Толстые кожаные перчатки. Мотоцикл.
Oh, shit. The key's not in the ignition. One of the soldiers on sentry duty must have it. Anyway, I should have figured...
Так. Может, сюда?
I don't think I'd get... I'm afraid I can't...
Так, загадка.
Even if I had a projectile handy, I consider myself... It doesn't... Even if I had...
Хорошо. О, кстати. Вода. Что такое? А, это я
Before I
спущусь
go
же.
down,
Туплю.
I'll leave the heavy stuff here, in case the rope doesn't support my weight.
Да. Тут никаких новых объектов не появилось, да? Это я не могу. Да. Ну.
I'll get my stuff.
Так. Цикл я не могу. Так, что у меня есть?
I doubt... Better not. Those... Better not. I'm not... This seat...
Ну, в смысле, чехол тоже денег стоит. Ладно. В порядке бреда. Так. А, факел я могу сделать, допустим.
Give them the sling.
Да, блин.
What for? What for?
Так, тут ничего нет. Там не нужен свет. Там нужно эту растительность убрать. Так, там ничего нету. Так, ну-ка.
I don't quite see how I could use this.
Ну, в смысле, тихоря, не? Так.
This quilted fabric fits the size of the window perfectly.
И ломиком. Так, сейчас.
Okay, let's try this. And let's cross our fingers that the seat cover absorbs the noise of the breaking glass. If the soldiers next door find me, they'll blow my head off without bothering to ask questions.
You've done it. Thank you. Thank you. I'm safe now. God bless you, stranger. You saved my life.
Take care of yourself, old man. And I don't have to tell you, don't open the door to strangers.
Кусачки остались. Кусачки. А кусачки... Кусачки. Попробуем сюда. Блин, ничего не нажимаю. Вот, ой, блин, этот... Фу. Можно его как-то это сбить? Ой, еще гадость какая-то.
One of the many, although the from what's left. rather doing, but above use. They're already.
Ну, в смысле, я не знаю, как ты их это...
Forget it.
Омерзители пиньята? Ничего с них... О, во, кстати. О, срезать, не?
They're already.
Ладно, короче. А, вот так?
They're already. I'm gonna need something that cuts better to hack a path through the... Let's see what's on the other side of this hedge.
Надеюсь, трупов нет. И чё там? Дырочку сделал?
No! Please! These visions! My head!
You won't get any of his things. I won't allow it. Do you hear me?
Michael, is that you? Thank God we found you. It's me, Chris. Don't you recognize me? But there is a solution, Michael. All is not lost. There is still a possibility of salvation for us. For each and every one of us.
You have to stop this, Michael. You have to quit.
I can't do it!
It's destroying us, don't you see? It's killing us.
It's that demon inside me! I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. These visions are getting more intense all the time. The pain is unbearable. Who's Chris? Salvation is still possible, he said. Could that be true? And once again, that female voice has been haunting me since I woke up. Who is she? Why was she so distressed? What the hell happened to us? Or is going to happen to us?
Психоделика. Так. Ага. Это еще один этот ролик. Так. Это что?
More of that barbed wire that if I get up close enough, I can hear a slight buzz.
И чё? А что такое? А, это, наверное, вот люк, если я вниз спущусь, да, я вот это... Трупы, я смотрю, тут... Кто-то тут что-то... Кстати, у меня есть... Подойдет?
Okay, I'll wear the gloves to cut the electrified wire.
Молодец.
Perfect.
Перчатки остались? Осталось, хорошо. Куда мне идти? Так. Ой. Как зайти мне?
There's a flat metal object buried. Let's see what's down here. It's a trapdoor, and it looks like it hasn't been used in a long, long time.
А. Это под нее.
This door leads to it. I can hear the buzz of electricity coming from inside.
Так, куда он не хочет? Сюда. Ага. Ух, фука. Перила. Кислота, вентиляционная решетка. Так, ладно.
I can't look directly into them. These lights are so bright that it seems like day in here. It must take an enormous amount of electricity to maintain this building. That explains the number of barrels out there. That's where the fuel is stored, that they need to run all the compound's generators.
What is this place? Where the devil am I? It seems like the small building at the ground level is just camouflage. The most important part is here underground. Are all of them dissolved? How many patients can there be packed in here? Dozens? Hundreds? This is horrible!
Great. It's a hell of a drop, and the railing wobbles when you touch it. Awesome. Wait a minute though. Isn't the idea of installing this to make it safe for people to cross from one side to the other?
Окей, что тут еще у нас? Перила. Помост. Что за помост?
It doesn't look that safe. My knees are knocking just walking over it. This catwalk just revealed something to me about my former life, that I have a tremendous fear of heights.
И чё? А, сейчас скажет, я не могу здесь пройти, потому что что-то, да? Да не, прошу. Так.
Let's see if this grate can be removed.
Же.
Perfect.
Да?
It looks like this hole leads to a passageway on the other side.
Ну ладно, пошли. Так, это я где? Черный пакет.
A tiny lock is preventing me from opening the door, and despite its size, it seems to be very strong.
Давай попробуем. Кислота.
It won't open that. There's a bunch of papers stuck to the door of the closet. There seems to be some type of bureaucratic form among them.
Прикольно. Так, плакат.
The future is in our hands. From the text, I say this post. I'm not gonna open. I don't see any cracks in the door big enough to get in. A tiny. Even if I had a. Maybe a professional burglar could do it. I don't think I'd. I doubt I'd accomplish anything using the piece. It's sagging from the weight, and so dilapidated. Better not. I'm an intruder in this building. Going down to the main hall of the hospital would be. I don't think. Wow. I don't see how I. That would. I'd rather not do that. No doubt the acid could clean off the. I'd rather. With the acid. I can't. I don't.
Окей, ладно. Дальше. Так, открытый шкаф. Шкафчики. Стеклянный шкаф. Скамейка. Плакат. Система вентиляции.
We must be very deep underground. That explains why the air down.
Так, может его сломать? Кислотой.
This rattling can playing with it does.
Ладно.
Unlike his neighbors, all I see inside are remnants of stickers. It looks like someone left in a hurry.
Ага.
More of that official propaganda. Your silence is the.
А, это я в этом.
A row of anonymous ramshack could fall apart, maybe in solidarity with.
Так, это что? Бутылочка.
Locked. I'm starting to get annoyed with this sense. Lockers.
Бутылочка. Кислота.
Wow. I'd rather use a key to open this case.
А.
Who is it? Who's there?
Oh, excuse me,
What are you doing here? Have you come to steal something? Take one more step and I'll call the soldiers.
No, wait, please, don't do that.
Security, this is Nurse Uma Grundy. I need you to come right away.
No, wait! You can't turn me in. Those soldiers will kill me if they find me here.
You should have thought of that before you walked into this trap. You'd better save your breath and get out of here fast, before those savages get here.
Steal? No, you're wrong about me. I'm not a thief.
You just broke the glass on one of our pharmacy cabinets. What am I supposed to think?
There's a reasonable explanation for all of this, I promise you.
You'd better be convincing when those soldiers get here. I can hear them coming now. Come on, get out of here now while you still have time.
Wait a minute. Did you say Uma? Nurse Uma?
Yes, that's my name.
Wait, please don't turn me in. I know your father. I saved his life just a few hours ago. They were going to deport him to the refugee camp, but I was able to stop it.
My God, did you say my father? Tell me, how is he? Has anything happened to him?
Don't worry, Uma. He's safe. He told me about you and your work in this place. He was worried. He'll want to know that you're all right. Wait, please don't turn me in.
This is Nurse Uma Grundy. It turned out to be a false alarm. You don't have to come, thank you.
Thank you, Uma. You did the right thing. My name is Michael.
But now you should explain why you burst in here like that. What are you looking for, Michael?
I came to get medicine. I need a cure for the dissolved.
Cure? There's no such thing. You won't find it here or anywhere else. The authorities distributed a memo among the medical staff months ago. I'm sure you can still find a copy of it around here somewhere. It told us that they've definitely abandoned the search for a medicine. You made a mistake risking your life to get in here. The only thing we store here is pain. This place is a tomb for those poor infected devils, but also for the people who work here. I'm sorry, Michael. The dissolved are condemned to death.
No, that can't be. There has to be a solution. A cure. Oh, man. Poor Rod. Poor Colin. But I heard in the refugee camp, they said a cure is being produced and stored here. Well, if that's not the case, what's the purpose of a building like this?
The Army deliberately keeps that rumor about a possible cure alive. You see, as long as people still have some hope left, it is much easier to control the city more effectively. But it's a lie.
I understand.
This medical center was built just after the Great Wave, taking advantage of some abandoned underground facilities. That was when the authorities were beginning to work on their project to rebuild the city. They told us the building was going to be used to take in the first patients. Of course, we had no idea the disease would become so widespread. I left my job in a clinic downtown to come here. I wanted to lend a hand. They demanded total confidentiality about our work to avoid causing panic in the population. Not even my father knew what we were really doing in here.
Yes. He told me that when I asked him about this place.
At first, we treated the patients with great care. There was medicine to ease their suffering and even research into a possible cure. Everything was going smoothly.
And then what happened?
Things started to go wrong. When the number of patients multiplied, we couldn't keep up. And then we began to run out of even the most basic supplies. And that was when the Army took over complete control of the center.
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
Then they sealed off the building. No one was allowed to leave, not even us. We doctors and nurses have been shut in here for months, isolated without even a glimpse of daylight. They say it's for security reasons. It's for our own safety. Oh yeah. Now our medical care is limited to wrapping up the patients in plastic bags, like the ones they use to transport cadavers, and then simply waiting for them to die, doing what little we can do to ease their suffering. Then we dispose of their remains, dissolving the black bags in acid for decontamination. And that's about it. That's all we can do with the resources we have, and sometimes it's just too much to bear.
Condemned to die. I heard their cries of pain out there. What really happens to the dissolved?
These people suffer the most excruciating pain and die in the most horrible way I've ever seen. The first symptoms are bouts of nausea and fainting, which become more frequent and prolonged as the disease progresses, until in the end their entire metabolism enters a state of shock. Then their entire cell structure dissolves. It simply disintegrates. There's no medical explanation. It just happens. But there's something even stranger about the disease.
What could be stranger than what you just told me?
The dissolved become erratic, unpredictable, eccentric. They're uncontrollable. That's why the Army fears them. They're afraid of their unpredictable behavior, but also of their strange messages. So the sole function of this place is to keep them locked away, hidden, and under the Army's control, until death takes them off their hands, one by one. It's also why people who harbor the dissolved are punished. And it's also the reason for the existence of the cleanup brigades.
But I thought they were just controlling the patients to keep the disease from spreading.
But that's a lie, a blatant lie. The spread of the disease is accelerating. The number of cases is multiplying every day. But it's not contagious. We doctors and nurses have been treating the sick for months, in direct contact with them and their remains. And the rate of contagion among us is no higher than out there. The army is lying.
But then, how is the disease spread?
We don't know, Michael. No one knows. What we do know is that it's not caused by direct contact with the victims. There's another reason for the Army's secrecy about the dissolved. Fear. It's human nature to fear the unknown. We tend to panic when faced with something we don't understand. And this damned disease is more than any of us can handle.
And what is it that makes the dissolve so unpredictable and dangerous?
They know, Michael. You probably think I'm crazy, but I'm telling you, they know. They talk about events no one else knows about. They sense things. They bring back information from the places they go. And they talk to the dead there, Michael. They communicate with the dead. They know, Michael. That's all.
They're just sick people, Uma.
No! They're more than just ordinary sick people. You wouldn't talk like that if you had been living with them, and their messages and their prophecies, all these months.
Wait a minute. Did you just say the dissolved make prophecies?
Let me tell you a story. When I first came to the center, I became friendly with a patient, a 13-year-old girl. All the time I was taking care of her, she never stopped chatting. She told me all about the underground highways. She said she went there every day.
Underground highways?
She said they all went there when they lost consciousness. Obviously, I felt great pity for the girl, but in time I also came to feel tremendous fear. I was afraid of that poor, hopeless child. Her visions, her dreams, her messages terrified me. And then one night she sat down next to another patient, an older woman who looked surprisingly healthy. According to our calculations, this woman still had a few months to live. The woman had just lost consciousness. "Leave me alone with her," the girl said to me. "It won't be long now." And she took the woman's hand. And just seconds later, the woman started to dissolve, shrieking and writhing in pain, until there was nothing left of her but a puddle of brown, viscous liquid. The girl turned to me and said, "I knew she was leaving us, and I didn't want her to go alone. That would have been very sad, wouldn't it, Uma?" The girl's face was still dripping with the remains of the patient. She knew what was going to happen, Michael. She saw it. From then on, my fear became uncontrollable. I felt defenseless next to her.
I understand.
Finally, my panic was so great that I refused to go anywhere near her. And I even, God forgive me, I felt secretly relieved when she herself finally dissolved. They know, Michael. And that's why they're so dangerous to the people in power now.
The cleanup brigades. I've seen how they behave.
They're savages. I despise them. They're like predatory animals, heartless and unscrupulous. The rest of the staff refuses to share the facilities with them, so their lockers are out in the hallway. That's where they keep everything they need for their hunting expeditions. The GPSs, the disease detection
Удостоверение.
tests, their ID badges. Each unit is made up of 2 soldiers, 1 doctor and 1 nurse. I mean, doctors and nurses collaborating with those bloodthirsty animals. But then they say, "What do you want? It's our job, and somebody's got to do it."
Yes, that phrase sounds familiar. It's bone-chilling. Police and criminals using exactly the same words to justify their actions. You gotta do what you gotta do. That seems to be the slogan of the executioners of this new world.
Talk to my father, Michael. Tell him that I'm all right, that he shouldn't worry, that we'll be seeing each other soon, very soon.
Ясненько. Так, но мне это морфий нужен. Ветхий стол, так, мусор.
The floor of this place, it's a little disconcerting. Let's see. And a tiny key.
Окей. Так, я взял морфий. Хорошо. Маленький ключик. Это сюда, да, наверное?
Let's see if it's the key to this closet. Bingo.
Окей.
I'm not going to take any. A small red and unmistakable sign.
О-о-о. Отчет
It's an
лекарства.
internal army map. The report talks about the failure to develop it and what's even worse.
Деревянный ящик.
According to one of the cleanup brigade's forums, it looks like some satellites are actually something I could easily
Ага, батарейки.
authorized vehicle path. It's the ID that allows the cleanup brigades to get in and out of the. From what I can tell, the army can.
Хорошо. Холофон. Холофон. Так. Так, а что еще есть тут?
I'm not going to take an unmistakable.
Так, ну у меня же пропуск есть. Пошли.
Better not. Going down to.
Окей, не хочет. Тут что у нас? Совершенно. Лампа.
The nurse's silhouette seems to fade. I'm afraid that after so many months cooped up in it.
Так, тут не пройти, да, я так понимаю? Окей. Да, конечно, ну, болтает достаточно много. Так, у меня есть морфий, я могу теперь отдать морфий. Что у меня еще есть? У меня получился мешок, кислота, смартфон. Угу. Отчет, вот, этот, как его назвать? Пропуск. Так. Не понял, подожди.
There's a bunch of papers stuck to the door of the closet.
А, тут вот еще. Подожди. Это эти, кого будут забирать. Окей. Так. Ну ладно. Или пойти отдать морфий. Так. Ладно. Тревога. А все, а нас нету. Ой, блин, это... Гадость. Так, можно его упаковать?
I'm afraid I can't do that.
Да подожди,
This
вот.
corpse deserves.
Нельзя. Так, у меня нету... А, кстати, а если взять батарейки?
This street is even more desolate and silent than it was before. I guess while I was in the subterranean hospital for the dissolved, the soldiers called the curfew.
Стрелять будут?
This home already has an owner.
Ну окей. Ладно, давай с ним поговорим.
What are you doing out here, ma'am? What's the matter?
It's my brother. He's disappeared. We don't know where he is.
What do you mean he's disappeared?
Well, we haven't seen him since he spoke to you, since he ran out of the church. We've been searching for him for hours and can't find him anywhere.
And you don't have any idea where he might have gone?
No, he simply ran out of the door, completely out of control. I've never seen him so upset, and we haven't heard anything from him since. I just know that something terrible has happened to him. My brother is very sick and he shouldn't be out there alone and unprotected. I fear the worst.
Calm down. There's no reason to think that anything has happened to him.
I have a feeling that something awful has happened. I'm sure of it. Besides, the soldiers have already called the curfew. If they find him on the street alone and lost, in his condition, my brother is a very beloved and respected person. But those beasts don't care who he is.
I understand.
We have to get off the street. Please, if you see my brother, tell him to come home. Tell him we're waiting for him.
Of course. I'll do that.
Ну, окей. Что тут получится? А, я могу в церковь зайти? В церкви никого нету. Может, как-то... Хрестик. Ну, а чё? А чё нет?
I'd rather...
Не, морфий нет. Так. О, сбить. Ладно. Ладно. Кик. Тут убежали, там убежали, а тут я ушел. Ну, надо этот, куда идти? Сюда идти.
The camp is closed, Rat.
But I have to come in. What happened?
There's no understanding you worms. Always wanting to get out of here. Once you're outside, you're dying to get back in. One of our soldiers was killed, and the camp will remain closed until the matter is cleared up. So take a hike.
There was an attack?
Yes. Someone hit one of the sentries in the watchtowers with a rock and made him fall out. He was killed instantly. Luckily, it seems there was a witness who saw the perpetrators launch the projectile, and they have been detained. But we never trust the testimony of a rat, so we're waiting for the criminals to confess, or for the murder weapon to turn up.
I don't think it's going to take very long to get the truth out of these kids. Or to find the weapon they used to commit the crime.
Good God. What have I done? I knew I shouldn't have gotten them mixed up in this. But they're just a couple of scared kids. Don't you see that? What are you planning on doing with them?
Killing an official is punishable by death, and martial law is quite clear in this respect. They acted as adults, and they will pay for their actions as adults. As soon as they confess, or we find the weapon they used to commit the crime, we'll take care of matters. Do you have a problem with the law being enforced?
You're nothing but a gang of warped psychopathic pigs.
One more word and I'll blow your head off right now, bastard. I couldn't care less what privileges that bracelet might give you. Get out of my sight.
Those pigs are gonna kill the boys. And it'll be my
Говорить вооруженному человеку, что он свинья, это, конечно, верх недоразумения. В смысле, что на рогатку. Ну только дать ему рогатку. Ой, блин, да... Что?
Wait a minute. There's something floating in the pit, but I can't see what it is from up here. Before I go down, I'll leave the heavy stuff here, in case the rope doesn't support my weight.
Утонул, упал, утонул? Плохо видно так далеко.
Jesus! It's the corpse of Reverend Blake. His neck is broken. In his delirium, he must not have seen the rope tied around the tree. It must have fallen from the top when he was trying to get down here. But what the hell was he looking for here?
А тут что?
Let's see what's in here.
Визитка.
Damp, moldy business card. It's almost illegible, but it looks like it's from a place called Beechwood Oracle. Most of the text is too worn off to read. All you can make out of it is an address. 24 Mammothswood Street.
Ага. Так, что еще есть у тебя? Лицо. Что лицо?
He still has the same grimace of terror as when he ran out of the church. What made him go mad? I don't care anymore. I'm afraid he took the answer with him to the grave.
И чё? Карман лицо. Что уж непонятно. Так. Короче, преподобный преподобился. Вот сколько много всего, а? Так, я попасть не могу, да? Я не могу попасть. Так, а через вот тут. О, у меня кислота есть, кстати. Ну почему она не разъест? В смысле?
Impossible. I doubt they're going. I'm not. Better not. I don't see.